हाँ, एक बार प्रेजेंटेशन देखो, शेयर कर देना उसको वहाँ से। नमस्कार। आज 22 सितंबर 2024 इस राउंड टेबल एक्सपर्ट ग्रुप ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट में जो डॉक्टर के एचसीएफआई हार्ट केयर फाउंडेशन ऑफ इंडिया द्वारा ऑर्गेनाइज है, इसमें हमारे सभी एक्सपर्ट मेंबर्स का और जो व्यूअर्स हैं डॉक्टर के अग्रवाल जी के यूट्यूब फेसबुक पेज से जुड़े हैं, उन सबका स्वागत है। और आज का हमारा टॉपिक है सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी फॉर ए रिसोर्स एफिशिएंट फ्यूचर। हम सभी जानते हैं पिछले कुछ सालों से, मे बी ये डिकेड बिफोर और इसके लेटेस्ट ही है, सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी वर्ड एक बहुत एक तरह से फैशन में आ गया। और जो स्टार्ट हुआ था उस हिसाब से प्रोग्रेस नहीं हुई। ये एक फैशन ज़्यादा होके रह गया और एक तरह से इस पे जो एक्चुअल में काम होना चाहिए था वो इतना नहीं हो पाया, उसके रिजल्ट उतने इनकरेजिंग नहीं आए। और इसी पे आज हमने डिस्कस करना चाहा कि हम इसको कैसे जो है और पॉपुलराइज़ हो और किस तरह से इसमें वर्क किया जाए। तो फर्स्ट स्लाइड करना कौन सी, इसके पहले वाला, पहले इसके कुछ दिखाना। फर्स्ट फर्स्ट इसके पहले, हाँ, अच्छा चलो स्टार्ट है ये। तो ये टॉपिक है हमारा आज का, जो सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी फॉर ए रिसोर्स एफिशिएंट फ्यूचर। जस्ट टू 10 मिनट के लिए हम एक रिकैप करेंगे, बैकग्राउंड देंगे। वैसे तो सभी हमारे जितने एक्सपर्ट मेंबर्स हैं उनको सब पता है। Basically, circular economy is essential an economic system where means of production are organized around reusing and recycling the inputs so that they can be used to reduce our environmental emission and at the same time facilitate a sustainable environment-friendly mode of production. Basically, see, circular economy require a fundamental shift in the way we design, produce, consume and dispose of goods. Normally, जो हमारा system है linear economy based है, उसमें take, make, use and dispose. This culture is there. Basically, हम जो है टेक मेक यूज एंड डिस्पोज कल्चर अडॉप्ट करते रहे अभी तक है। बट सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी में वी हैव टू फंडामेंटल शिफ्ट इन दी डिजाइन ऑफ द जो प्रोडक्ट्स है, उसका प्रोडक्शन है, उसका कंजम्पशन है एंड डिस्पोज ऑफ जो है गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज जो है। This shift require a innovation and new approach to address the challenge of resource depletion, waste, and environmental degradation. Yes, basically. Next one. Basically, this concept of circular economy has gained immense popularity in recent times as it provides a sustainable solutions to the current linear economic model. In a circular economy, resources are kept in use for as long as possible. Waste is minimized and products are designed to be reused or recycled at the end of their life. The circularity जो report 2020 estimate only 7.2% of the global economy is circular, and this number is only getting worse with time. 2018 में, I recall the data जो है 2018 में it was around 9.2%, but in 2023 after 4-5 years is around 7.2%. Is decline actually. Instead of increasing, the particularly circular economy is decreasing as compared to what it was started in 2018 or before that. Next slide. India scenario, if you go for India's current economic model is basically linear. I was talking that, where resources are extracted, processed, and transferred into products that are sold to the customer. We take, make, use, and dispose culture that way. After use, these products are disposed of, leading to a significant amount of waste generation. If you go for CPCB data, according to CPCB, India generates over 62 million tons of waste every year. About 43 million tons, 70% are collected, of which about 12 million tons are treated and 31 million tons are dumped in the landfill sites. हम अभी बात कर रहे थे बिफोर स्टार्टिंग कि दिल्ली का भी जो लैंडफिल साइट है, वो जो हिल्स हैं बने हुए हैं, वो गवर्नमेंट इज ट्राइंग टू रिड्यूस, बट देयर इज सम इश्यूज, some lifting of issues and the waste and other issues is there. So this is expected to increase to 165 million tons by 2030. The majority of this waste is disposed or of in landfills or dumps in open spaces, leading to environmental degradation and health hazards. Next slide. As the Indian economy and middle class continue to grow, and we are more on the online purchasing and online culture, so and we lot of packaging we use in its current linear supply chain, it could lose the opportunity to attain a regenerative development path towards long-term prosperity. However, the circular economy model could provide a strong framework, if implemented properly, for development and basis for setting principles to guide business innovations, policy, and education. Applying these principles would help India build on its currently circular economy practices and scale them across sectors and value chains, using existing building blocks to embark a circular development path and capture its benefits. Next slide. If we see the circular economy development path India, the circular economy path in India could create an annual value of rupees 40 lakhs crores, I mean US dollar 218 billions in 2030 and 40 lakhs crore, US dollar 624 billions in 2050, compared with the current development scenario, if we adopt circular economy model. And this conclusion emerged from the comparison of cost in the three focus area: agriculture, mobility, and construction. The analysis indicates the cost to provide the same level of utility could be significant lower in the circular development scenario. Next one. India policy framework to promote the circular economy based on the basically multi-pronged approach that includes regulatory measures that all regulatory authority, pollution control boards, and other authority are implementing, financial incentives, awareness campaigns, and capacity building. And some of the key policy and initiative implemented by the Indian government to promote circular economy are highlighted in next slides. Next slide. First is the basically India framework to policy promote circular economy is the National Resource Efficiency Policy, NREP. This NREP was launched in 2019 with the objective of promoting sustainable productions and consumption pattern, enhancing resource efficiency, and reducing the environmental impact of the economic activities. Another very recent policy initiative is extended producer responsibility, EPR. Basically, another element of the policy designed to facilitate the creation of a circular economy. EPR is a regulatory framework, and that makes manufacturer and producer responsible for post-consumer waste generated by their products. The EPR framework encourages producers to adopt sustainable product design practices, increase the use of recycled material, and support waste management and recycling initiative. EPR regulations of waste management schemes, particularly for plastic, e-waste, tire, battery, used oil, have been notified by Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change, Government of India. We have discussed some of the EPR regulations here in this our meetings also, roundtable also, and particularly start with the EPR rules on plastics for the if you consider for the different category. So this has become more popular, and now the e-waste and tire and battery used oil also going to be, I mean, they're already notified and going to be implemented by the different concerned like stakeholders and authorities. Next one. Another is the definitely my other colleagues are here. You can they say the Swachh Bharat mission is one of the circular economy the framework. This is another critical policy intervention when it comes to aspects of the waste and segregation recycling. The Swachh Bharat mission was launched in 2014 with the objective of promoting cleanliness, hygiene, and waste management. It will include initiative to promote waste segregation, recycling, and composting, and aim to make a zero waste country. Now, as BM 2.0, also a lot of actions are going on. The reductions in waste generation is central to the global goal of the circular economy, basically. So that's very important. This SBM. There is also need to radically change the way waste disposal and waste management being organized in the country. Reducing waste generation and managing waste more efficiently is fundamental in helping India meet to its mission circular economy. Waste reductions and efficient waste management are two basically pillars of the circular economy. Waste reduction help conserve natural resources by reducing the need for raw materials and energy consumption, and efficient waste management can create economic opportunity by promoting recycling, composting, and other forms of waste recovery. Next slide. Another important policy framework is the Atal Innovation Mission. This is another policy intervention which stand out in terms of its rationale for circular economy is the Atal Innovation Mission. The Atal Innovation Mission was launched in 2016 to promote innovations and entrepreneurship in India. The mission include initiative to support and the development of circular business models and encourage the adoption of the sustainable technology. Niti Aayog, the Government of India think tank, has formed committees for the 11 sector of waste streams that include e-waste and automobile scrap waste and others. I mean, and lot of actions. This is headed by some secretary of concerned department, and a lot of actions are already being taken by the Niti Aayog through these 11 sectors committee. Next. Another policy framework is financial incentive. In addition to these policy initiatives, a number of interventions have been made which revolve around financial incentive for the efficient utilization of resources. In line with these, the Indian government has implemented various financial incentives to encourage the adoption of circular business models and promote sustainable consumption pattern. These incentives include tax benefits, subsidies, and low interest loans to the recycling industries. Next. India policy framework to promote circular economy also include a range of measures to encourage the adoption of circular business model, promote resource efficiency, and reduce waste generation. These policy initiatives are critical to achieving India's sustainable development goals, because all SDG, 17 SDG we are implementing by this is the target 2030, but the progress is not as it should be. So ensuring a more sustainable and prosperous future for the country. However, India still faces several challenges in its transition towards circular economy. And the sub challenges I am highlighting in the next slide. One of the, this is a challenge to promote circular economy in India. One of the biggest challenges is the lack of adequate infrastructure for waste management. This is very, very important, and for also recycling. We all agree that only some kind of some cities like mega cities, they may be having some kinds of facility, but other cities we are lacking with the all waste management infrastructure and facility. So India needs to invest in the waste processing and recycling facility and improve waste collections and segregation system to enable the efficient and effective process of waste. Another challenge is the lack of awareness and understanding the circular economy concept among businesses and consumers, because they don't care, they are not, I mean, looking for the benefits, I mean, the and other future prospects of the circular economy. The government needs to create awareness campaign and education programs to promote the adoption of circular economy policies and encourage consumers to adopt sustainable consumption pattern. In this line, we have taken this today's, I mean, particularly the webinar and particularly roundtable in this subject. Next one. Next slide. This is also to India transition towards circular economy. Sub-point, India transition towards circular economy will require a concerted effort from all sectors and stakeholders. The government needs to create a supportive policy environment and invest in infrastructure, research and development to enable the transition towards circular economy. Businesses need to adopt circular business models and incorporate sustainable practice into their production process. Consumers need to adopt sustainable consumption pattern and support the development of sustainable products and services. And by working together, India can transition towards a circular economy and create sustainable and resilient future. Next. So India need to focus on creating awareness and education program, improving infrastructure for waste management, recycling, providing incentive for circular economy practices, and promote research and development in the field of circular economy. It will also require a multi-stakeholders approach and collaboration between government agency, businesses, NGO, and consumers to address these barriers and accelerate the transition towards a circular economy. Alone, I mean, no government or no, I mean, any businesses they can do this. We have to work together on this. Next. Particularly the reuse, repair, and recycling of products can play a significant role in helping India achieve to mission circular economy. 3R are at the core of the circular economy model. They can help conserve natural resources by reducing the need for raw material and energy consumption. It creates economic opportunity by promoting circular business models and generate revenue, reduce the cost of production, and create jobs. Reused and repair products can provide consumers with affordable and high quality alternatives to new products. This can also create opportunity for community-based businesses and that provide repair and reuse services through circular supply chains. Next slide. The transition to economy can bring significant benefit to India, ranging from environmental conservation, economic growth, and job creation. This emphasis on reducing waste generation, promoting local production and resource optimization, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, aligned with the India commitment to sustainable development and climate change mitigations. Next. So the final slide. Next. So this is a way forward to build a mass movement of the circular economy in the country. Awareness campaigns needs to be launched for individuals, household, villages, and businesses all. Thank you. So we can just. So this has some slides, some presentation. I have just a background prepared, so we can discuss. And I think To start with, I think I'll request Pradeep Khandelwal ji if he can, because this is more related to waste management. Though circular economy also some additional components are there, but most is related to waste management. So I'll request Pradeep Khandelwal ji to his views and comments, particularly on this subject.
नमस्कार। इस सर्कुलर इकॉनमी में मेन तो संजीव जी ज़्यादा रोशनी डाल सकते हैं, क्योंकि दे आर इम्प्लीमेंटिंग। हम तो जो आपने एक प्रेजेंटेशन बनाया उसी को रिपीट कर सकते हैं, सजेस्ट कर सकते हैं, लेकिन जो एक्चुअल, जब मैं चीफ इंजीनियर था, तो जो एक्चुअल प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही थी कि सर्कुलर इकॉनमी और वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट, चाहे वो कंस्ट्रक्शन डिमोलिशन वेस्ट हो, चाहे वो म्युनिसिपल सॉलिड वेस्ट हो, तो दोनों के प्री रिक्विजिट जो हैं वो अगर फुलफिल नहीं होते हैं तो सर्कुलर इकॉनमी का कोई पर्पस ही नहीं है। जैसे एमएसडब्ल्यू में प्री रिक्विजिट है कि सेग्रीगेशन जरूरी है। अगर सेग्रीगेशन नहीं है तो ना तो कोई टेक्नोलॉजी वर्क करेगी, ना कोई और सिस्टम वर्क करेगा। सिमिलरली कंस्ट्रक्शन डिमोलिशन वेस्ट में अगर ऑफटेक इंश्योर नहीं किया गया तो फिर कोई सर्कुलर इकॉनमी का पर्पस नहीं है। मैं कूड़ा कंस्ट्रक्शन वेस्ट कलेक्ट कर लूं, ट्रांसपोर्ट कर दूं, प्रोसेस कर दूं, फिर वही फंस गया मैं, तो मेरे नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज तो सेव हुए नहीं।
कंप्लीट लूप नहीं जब तक क्लोज होगा, लूप
लूप नहीं होगा। तो सर्कुलर इकॉनमी के लिए जो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट चीज है कि लूप कंप्लीट होना चाहिए। अगर हम वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट की बात करते हैं, म्युनिसिपल सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट की बात करते हैं, तो सेग्रीगेशन इज अ मेन इम्पोर्टेंट पैरामीटर फॉर सर्कुलर इकॉनमी। और अगर हम कंस्ट्रक्शन डिमोलिशन वेस्ट की बात करते हैं तो ऑफटेक इज अ मेजर पैरामीटर्स फॉर सर्कुलर इकॉनमी। तो बाकी तो संजीव जी बहुत अच्छा बताएंगे इसमें, उनको तो बहुत परेशानियां फेस कर रहे हैं हर चीज में, चाहे वो म्युनिसिपल सॉलिड वेस्ट हो चाहे कंस्ट्रक्शन डिमोलिशन वेस्ट हो। ये तो दोनों में इन्वॉल्व है, इम्प्लीमेंटेशन पार्ट पे हैं, तो इनको ज्यादा ही आइडिया होगा कि हम लोग कहाँ लैग कर रहे हैं।
जी जी।
तो
तो आई
नाउ ओवर
रिक्वेस्ट
टू
संजीव कुमार
संजीव
जी,
को।
हमारी रिसर्चबिलिटी से हैं और ये बड़ा ग्रुप है राम के ग्रुप से, और काफ़ी जो इनके प्लांट्स हैं और बहुत से वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट मोर एमएसडब्ल्यू और सीएनडी वेस्ट एंड अदर वेस्ट में इन्वॉल्व हैं, जेडएस वेस्ट में। तो मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा संजीव कुमार
ई
जी
वेस्ट में भी है, जाडस वेस्ट में भी है,
सब
सब
में।
में है। और सब में ही सर्कुलर इकॉनमी
यस
वर्क कर रही है।
ओवर टू संजीव कुमार।
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Till by the time my colleague put some slide, first of all, I would just like to thank Anil sir for bringing this topic for the discussion. And my suggestion is that it requires more deliberations on a at least frequent basis, because the government of India is very much wanting this to not only in terms of resource conservation, but also in terms of employment generation through a formal sector, or getting it formalized. So if it is generating, going to Damodaran, can you present the slides? If it is going to get things formalized, then there is a need of what Khandelwal sir was explaining, that this has been over a period of the time conversion from linear to circular economy, but challenges has been numerous, not only in the type of raw material required, but also in terms of the preference given to the products which comes through, both at policy level as well as consumption level. Behavioral change is also required. Like for example, in construction demolition, even when it comes to putting up tiles in the paved areas of park, or even in the areas which are considered like say toilets and all, generally material taken out of construction demolition byproducts are not being preferred. So there are certain behavioral issues. We don't want recycled plastics, which comes in a way even for to think that somebody might have used in a way different. So that requires a behavioral change as well. So there are challenges but definitely government of India is taking this as a major focus, and has been trying its level best. A considerable progress has been made. The major, first of all, it was a very vast subject. It is a very vast subject. How do we structure in a way so that at least we give some focus areas? So they have identified 9 such focus areas, 12 such focus areas, where this is basically like solid waste, liquid waste, electronic waste, construction demolition waste, end of life, battery waste, plastic waste, construction demolition, hazardous waste, certain types, biomedical waste, certain types, and used tires. Then you have used oil. So many other such sectors have been identified as far as sectors are concerned. Then they, what they have come up is, though they were there prevalent, but then there lot of change in the rules has is being propagated as to whether it is municipal solid waste, hazardous waste, liquid waste, battery waste, and in the hazardous waste they have brought in used oil, used tires, non-ferrous metals, electronic waste. So many things has been, like say, the rules are getting played. First they identified the focus area, then they identified the rules. Now rules are getting fly ash utilization. So these rules are getting there in the last 5, 6, 7 years, maybe 10 years, I would like to put it. But then they were there, but with the focus area and the kind of utility which it should have been in the rules, they tried to make it as a part of rule. So when the rules came in, then came the market mechanism. And the market mechanism was basically thought as an extended producer responsibility. So whosoever produces is bound to take it back, was the objective to be met with. Or whosoever takes resources from nature is bound to replace with some other material, like the way they do in co-processing or thermal substitution rate was to be changed, so that coal gets replaced with fuels coming out from renewable sources through waste. So they were asked to, and this how do we measure and bring such thing in the measurable quantity? The idea of extended producer responsibility through credits came in. So then came the extended. But to do so, here comes the challenge, is that there has to be an infrastructure to handle it, and there has to be a mechanism to measure it, and there has to be a mechanism to monitor, and also there has to be a mechanism to see that right people is doing it rightly. I'll just take a second because battery is getting draining out. I'll just charge it. Just hold me.
I think Sanjeev ji will join back, will continue. In the meantime, can I request Tyagi sir to your comments in the meantime? If you can say, because more on the water sector also, the reuse of the, and as a circular economy, the treatment of sewerage and reuse of the treated water and all. If you can throw some light on the in the meantime. Tyagi sir.
जी
Sir.
जैसा कि आपने बताया कि ये जो सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी और लीनियर इकोनॉमी में क्या फ़र्क है, दिस इज़ द बेस्ट एग्जांपल ऑफ दिल्ली, एंड आई हैव सबमिटेड ए पेपर ऑन दिस, रिसर्च पेपर ऑन दिस सब्जेक्ट in the international journal, which is under review. So as rightly said, that linear economy in sector of sewerage, because sewerage is considered as a waste, though in my opinion it is not a waste. It is an asset because it gives you the three component. One is you may say the byproduct. One is your treated effluent, which can be used as a for non-purpose, for non-drinking purposes, and the sludge, biosludge, which can be used as a manure, and the biogas, which can generate the power. So in Delhi, what is happening that the treated effluent is being produced to the extent of 650 mgd, whereas it is used hardly 90 mgd. Similarly, the biogas is being flared, or at most of the sewage treatment plant, this is not being generated even on the ASP based STPs. So this is a linear economy, means we have spent a lot of money on creation of these STP, billions of rupees, and you are not taking the advantage of their byproduct like treated effluent, biogas, biomanure. And there may be some other reasons also, that because around 700 metric ton per day sludge is being produced at all the sewage treatment plant with the capacity of 650. So this is being either disposed of in the low-lying area, or it is accumulated at the sewage treatment plant, which is affecting the sewage treatment process also. So we should think of that, how to use these byproduct of the sewage to get the circular economy, because we can get the we can replace the filtered water with the treated effluent for non-potable purposes, because a lot of quantity is being used for non-potable purposes like agriculture, your horticulture, cooling plants. There are so many other, even it is can be used for the groundwater treatment, replenishment of groundwater, because we are treating the sewage to the tertiary standard quality. Similarly, we have tried the composting at two sewage treatment plant. One is Niloti of 20 mgd, and another is the this Pappankala at 20 mgd capacity. But we found that there is a lot of heavy metals in that sewage, and we went backward how to find out where from these are coming. Then we found that there is a illegal industries in the residential area, and they are discharging their chemicals in the sewage, in the sewer lines that is accumulated at the sewage treatment plant. That is why there is a heavy metals in the biosludge. So there are a lot of problems to attain the circular economy in Delhi itself. So we are talking about climate change, but nothing is done on the climate sector. We are talking about the circular economy, but it is very difficult to get the circular economy out of the waste, because there are so many restrictions, there are so many limitations with the government and the public also. So that should be discussed, how to resolve the issues which are being faced by the government. And if government wishes to have the circular economy, they can get, because the legal industries are should not remain in the residential area, and then we can get the good quality of biosludge. Similarly, we should maintain the sewage treatment plants to the as per the standard operating processes, so that we can have the biogas to generate the power. And most of the plants which have been which have been producing the biogas are self-resident to the extent of 50 to 60%. So we can think of everything, and we can achieve the circular economy goal, but we have to be very cautious about the limitations and other things. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tyagi ji. And I'll request further Sanjeev ji to continue. And I think PPT is sharing. So in the meantime, I thought,
Yeah, that is correct, sir. So sorry, sir, there was a charger issue.
yeah.
So, I was just trying to continue that what Tyagi sir was right now saying is definitely very correct, that yes, sewerage is also one such focus area which is being discussed at the central level as to what can be the mechanism to capture the sewerage being generated, how to get it monitored at the generation level itself, and where it can be tapped and reused, developed to reuse, so that whether the grey water which is coming out can be converted into further usable material, who to use, and the sludge can that be generated into biogas. So again, there is a mechanism, there is a feasibility. One point what we all need to understand, that all this is related to pollution, and pollution is EP Act very clearly says the polluter has to pay for it. Until and unless it gets converted into that model, and that model, if it gets converted into EPR or some mechanism to monitor, to see that the revenue generator make those projects sustainable, then only those projects will become sustainable. Otherwise, it won't. It is very clear. Let's be very clear. Then only it is, and it's at the cost of the environment. So we have to balance what we do. We need to protect our environment, or do we need to see that it is there? So with that, sir, I just want to give a few slides as to what is the problem and how it can be, what is we being doing. However, there are other things also where the challenges are also there, but I'm just confining to the gigantic problem which is, and where the potential is. I'm just trying to tell the potential available in the market. Go to next slide.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Yeah. So if you see, the problem statement is huge. If you talk about the waste generation, and out of which 70 to 75% is generated in urban areas, and only 20 to 28% is being scientifically processed. If it gets conversed with the rising material use and economic development, you can see how economic development and the consumption GDP constant is almost, it is a matching now, and it is going up. The challenge is that it is going up. So there is a resource conservation, a resource thing which is coming up, and we as a country overall in the world, we stand at very low place where the other countries are at a high place. Next, please. This is 2014 data, which is of Planning Commission, wherein we see that the biodegradable component is decreasing and the other waste materials are increasing. So the recovery potential of these material, whether it is paper, plastic, metal, glass, rags, and others, and this is 2014 data. So has a very high potential of recovery, whereas this is not getting recovered either in terms of it is going to the landfill or as an inert, or wherever it is going, it is not getting captured properly where it needs to be captured, so that there is some benefit attached, some benefit given both to the individual, to the environment, and obviously some part will go back to the government. Next. Just a diagram to say that how different sources of material contribute to the GDP, whether it is agriculture, metals, construction, mining, manufacturing, utilities, machinery, and food. These are the major sectors which contributes to the environment, to the development of the country, whereas the share in the municipal solid waste from these only goes into biodegradable metals, paper, glass, plastics, rags, and rubbers, and then contribution, and most of these materials are getting imported. We are one way to mining. We are bringing materials from the various countries. We are using them for our some production and again throwing back to the landfills. Go to the next. Of this, several relevant sectors which is actually bringing in material and are contributing even to the GDP are automobile, chemical, plastics, building and construction, electronics, solar, photovoltaic material, steel, and aluminium. I'm not going into details. Go to the next slide. Go to the next slide. So there is a big, next slide. So there is a big storm. The challenge is to do more with less, whereas we are not able to do it. So all this is actually required to be a part of the circular economy, wherein the material goes back to the system. Go to the next. But then there has to be certain business model. Business model is very important because this will lead to entrepreneurs. This will lead to bring in investment to the government. This will lead to bring in the back to material, and bringing in back to the material will add on resource conservation and also will bring in utility. So supply chain, circular supply chain, that is provide renewable energy, bio-based, fully recyclable input material to replace single-digit life cycle, recovery and recycling. Certain material can have a value of extension in the terms of life. Sharing platform, one material can be a raw material to the other, and the other raw material can be a byproduct, or can be of use to any other. And product as a service, often product access to retain ownership to internalize the benefits of circular sequence productivity. Go back. Next. In MSW, it is already getting structured in a way that projects are right from segregation. The segregated material is going to the MRFs. From the MRFs, either certain material is going to the manufacturing units, or certain material are directly being sent to the cement plants, or if left, the wet waste is going to the biodegradable center or compost, and from there biogas is getting generated, or from the MRF, if things which are not sellable as a recyclable product are going back to the cement or to the waste to energy and their inerts. But the scale is like 1,70,000 per lakh metric ton to be generated per day. It is being only 20% is right now is being processed and disposed. So the scale has gigantic, and it's have to be across the country, because that logistic cost is almost like 30 to 35% of all this waste management across the country, which needs to be focused to brought back to minimum 20%, then 15%, then in a single digit. Next. Already these regulations are in place. You have municipal solid waste and liquid waste material, ferrous and non-ferrous scrap material, electronic waste, lithium ion, so many other waste material rules are already in place. Next. I'll not go deep. These are meant for different sectors. For the ELV end of life vehicle, right now we have 120 ELVs coming up in the country, out of which 59 of them are approved and in operations. Balance of 70 is under construction. Many more ELVs are getting manufactured. Facilities are being developed, which gives a lot of waste material, which can always find some other ways in terms of usage. Next. E-waste and precious metals. So many e-waste facilities are there, either in the form of dismantlers, refurbishers, but there are very few for in terms of refinement of material and recovery of precious metal. Roughly there are about 10 to 15 of them in the country. But again, we are one of the largest producers of e-waste in the world, and with the kind of consumptions and focus by the to see that manufacturing is going on back in India, wherein all the mobile phones and many of the material is being developed within India. This sector will also have a lot of requirement for recovery of the material. So there is a huge potential in this sector. Next. Plastic, obviously, a few days back only somebody has shared that India is one of the largest producers of plastic waste. A lot is being talked about and a lot is being looked into, but it needs a lot of more thing in terms of what can be the byproducts, tax incentives, and infrastructure support to be given by the government of India through various of its schemes. Next. As a company, we were actually 7 years back, 8 years back, we were mainly focused into waste management, but our focus has now been we are moving from waste management to resource recovery, with more focus on carbon negative technologies, including incorporation of information technology in terms of generation monitoring, quality monitoring, and innovations and social inclusions. Next. So all these kinds of waste is getting recovered. Next. Some of the waste to energy plants. Go to next. Gas and RDF is one such sector where still there is a lot of work happening. There has a lot of work happened in the last few years, but it has a huge, every day there is a learning as to how to monitor, how to ensure that the correct RDF is going back to the cement plants. Just to bring in one more development, which Ministry of Environment and Forests has come up with, to have common boilers in industrial areas, especially in MSMEs areas, wherein these boilers to be compatible to get feedstocks coming out of this MSW. Probably, I think that can be a very good initiative to see that those boilers are developed in such a way that they can consume RDF as a part of raw material, that will really be of great help. Next. So this is biogas. Next. The biogas, especially coming from municipal solid waste and sewage waste, has a challenge of offtake. It says that oil manufacturing gas companies will take off, but they don't have an infrastructure to capture that waste, to carry that waste, to ensure that the waste which comes out either by the generator reaches to the quality level and to the offtake level. And the prices which they are offering does not match the cost infrastructure or the operation and maintenance of the cost of production. So there has to be a policy intervention by the government to see that this biogas is being generated. Assuming, let's only we are talking of waste management biogas generated through MSW, assuming the kind of STPs we have in the countries across the country, and that sludge which is having this kind of waste will have a lot of potential. But what Khandelwal sir was mentioning is that the quality of the waste material at the segregation. So it is not only MSW, it is in sewer also. If it is coming from domestic waste, it is having different types of treatment technology. But if it is coming from a mixed waste, like what we have in Delhi, where a lot of industries or MSMEs are located within the domestic areas, then the kind of waste reaching out to the sewerage plants or the sewerage treatment plants has got a lot of challenge to treat that waste and get a biogas which is compatible to the oil manufacturing gas companies. So these are the challenges which needs focus and which needs a lot of research and development. And how do we sort it out? Next. Plastic recycling. Obviously, the challenge here is that it's not about making granules and making the granules to the quality which the requires by the manufacturers of plastics or large plastic players. But the challenge is here of chemical recycling. Chemical recycling, wherein it's to break it from polymers to monomer, and the monomer required to reach to a quantity as to what can be the required product for the other industry is a big challenge, and very less of it is there available in India right now. We as a company are working out with one of the largest plastic manufacturers, Marico. We have partnered with them to see that all their bottles and all their materials they take through the chemical recycled product, so that they take those material and bring them back to the market as a byproduct for filling. I just to give a brief, Marico is one of the largest manufacturers of plastic bottles, which you see in your everybody's home. Is either it is Saffola bottle or Parachute or any other such bottles. These are being produced by Marico. So an initiative has been initiated, and now it sees that hope, it sees the progress. So these kinds of partnership is being developed. Next. Construction demolition definitely has got a very big market, and construction demolition is a very much requirement, not only in terms of recovery of the material, but it is also a very huge potential in terms of employment generation. Construction, apart from second to agriculture, is the largest sector which employs a lot of people, and it is being the focus of the government to see that through different of its schemes, a lot of construction work happens. But when it happens, it also generates a lot of waste, which needs to be converted into byproducts so that they get marketed out. Next. Precious metals. It is one of the, again I am saying, India is having one of the largest precious metal in Hyderabad. I always invite everybody, if you can come and visit, please do visit. But the biggest challenge what we are facing is that we are not getting raw material to the what level it has to be there. And one more thing which I would like to say here is that electronic waste is the best managed waste in the country. You will never find, if you go to road, you will never find even a wire coming out of electronic waste or your earphone lying on the road. What does it mean? It is getting segregated. It is getting picked up. It is getting picked up. It is finding a way where it should go. But when it goes into that market, wherever it goes, does it contribute to the environmental environmental protection or does it prevent the environmental pollution is a question. And how do you see that those people can be brought into the market? Those people can be brought into the system where those people are also converted and looked into formalized sector. So these are the challenges where it comes in. But does this have? Yes, it has got a lot of potential. It has got a market. It will find a way out in period of the time. The returns will take some time. The regulations will take some time, but definitely it has got some potential. Huge potential, not some potential. Next, please. Next. This is also India is one of the having one a very good coastline, but we are not even focusing on this. All the ships and tomorrow with developments of 7-8 ports, these ship areas this will have a lot of waste which is coming out, and those waste if properly not handled will go back to the marine, especially in terms of oil spillage, which has a lot of effect and impact on the aquatic lifetime. Next. It is called Marpol. So these are few of the photos of the MRFs, which is having both density and optical separation. Right now the photo is at UAE, but we are in the Hyderabad is going to have one of the largest MRFs in the country, wherein we are trying to see that all kinds of waste reaches to here, and then they are going segregated and being sent to the respective recyclers. Next. Next. Obviously, in doing so, women plays a very important role. This is one such example where we always try to focus. This is one such zone in Manali, sanitary zone in Manali, wherein 98% or maybe 100%, I will say, right from CEO of that ward or the hazardous waste or the sanitary supervisor, we call her as a CEO of that ward. That ward is having 30 square kilometers area, about 4.5 lakh population. The entire door-to-door collection, secondary collection, segregation is being handled by none other than women, and 99.9% segregation happens. The recognition was at the state level as well as the center level by Ministry of Housing and Affairs and Urban Affairs, and social inclusion is the major focus where we look into. Go to next. Next. I think that's all. There is a lot of recovery potential for each type of waste. Each type of waste has got different sections which needs to be segregated. A lot of innovations is required, research and development is required, and has got better utility rather than putting into the same utility. What do I mean? Waste to energy is one such solution. Landfill is one such solution. But these are the last preferred solutions compared to what you can do with maximum recovery. But in doing so, there are challenges in doing so. So step by step, things will move. But in doing so, you can't just leave it. So that is how waste to energy and landfills come in picture, because it takes time. Other things take a lot of time and a lot of gestation period to reach out. But potential is high. Government of India, I think, is doing very right, moving in directions, but it will take time. Next. Next. With that, I leave open for the discussions, and there can be more discussions, more talk on challenges and potential solutions. We can always have next round. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjeev ji. Very, very detailed presentation covering most of the aspects of the today topic. And definitely, I think we need require one more session at least for the further discussions, because already we have 2-3 minutes. So I'll maybe just 1 or 2 minutes quick comments from the Gupta ji and the Neeraj Tyagi. Then further we can discuss in the, I think, next session further and come out with some kind of what needs to be done. So I'll just quick comments from the SK Gupta ji and then to Neeraj Tyagi.
Thank you, Dr. Anil. It was a wonderful presentation by Sanjeev ji, and very good enlightenment from Tyagi ji, and as usual from Pradeep ji. But to me, there are 2-3 points which I would like to make. One is that recycling is the main backbone of
circular economy.
So I think recycling focus has to be to a very large extent, and therefore government, in my opinion, government should set up a separate department, a separate ministry for recycling, just like they have separate ministries for different kind of activities, industrial activities, agricultural activities. I think recycling is a very important, or circular economy, you can say a ministry for circular economy should be created. And government should enact mandatory requirements for recycling or reprocessing of raw materials, especially uh, especially for fly ash use, treated sewage and effluent, scrap materials, and e-waste and C&D materials, because they are being generated in large quantity in the country. And if we recycle these or reuse these waste material, I think we will be able to save a lot of our natural resources. Ultimately, the purpose of circular economy should be to protect the natural resources of the country and ultimately protect the environment. So if our focus, there are many benefits of circular economy from business point of view, employment point of view, but ultimately the focus should have to be on protecting the natural resources or environment of the country. And that, with keeping that in view, I think our laws should be, a new law should be enacted in the country so that this activity is promoted and natural resources are protected. This is what I would like to suggest.
Yeah, thank you, Gupta ji. Neeraj ji, today we have very quick comments from you, and then later on we can discuss the next session further. All the more details.
जी, जैसा कि आपने भी बहुत अच्छा प्रेजेंटेशन डॉक्टर अनिल कुमार जी ने दिया, और मैनेजिंग वेस्ट के बारे में, ईपीआर एक्सटेंडेड प्रोड्यूसर रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी के बारे में आरएस त्यागी जी ने, आउट ऑफ इट सो मेनी जो गवर्नमेंट एंड पब्लिक रेस्ट्रिक्शन को एक हिंड्रेंस बताया, इलीगल जो होता है रेजिडेंशियल एरिया में। मेरा सजेशन ये है कि इसमें एक तो प्लास्टिक का जो मैनेजमेंट है रिसाइकलिंग का, उसके ऊपर क्लोज लूप की जरूरत है, और जो बीआईएस स्टैंडर्ड बनते हैं कंपनीज के लिए, उसमें रिसाइकिल प्रोडक्ट्स को जब वो यूज करते हैं तो बीआईएस को मीट नहीं कर पाते, तो ये प्रॉब्लम भी एक सॉल्व होनी चाहिए। और जो हमारी जो फार्मा इंडस्ट्री है, उसमें जो स्ट्रिप्स वगैरह निकलती हैं, उनके भी डिस्पोज ऑफ, जो मिक्सिंग और सेग्रीगेशन जो है वेस्ट का, ये सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी में सेग्रीगेशन बहुत मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट है, और उससे फर्दर हम जो वेस्ट जनरेट करते हैं उससे और ज्यादा पॉल्यूशन ना हो, इसके लिए हमें स्टेप उठाने की जरूरत है। ई वेस्ट है, और बायोटेक्नोलॉजी में भी हमें नई टेक्नोलॉजी की जरूरत है जिसमें कम से कम एनर्जी का यूज हो। और हाई स्पीड रेल्स, हाई स्पीड जो हमारी जो बुलेट ट्रेन हैं, ये सब बुलेट ट्रेन से मतलब हाई स्पीड में हमारे फॉसिल फ्यूल का कम से कम उपयोग होगा, तो हमें जो है एफिशिएंसी जो है एनवायरनमेंट में भी कम नुकसान होगा। तो ये भी अगर हम हाई स्पीड ट्रेन ज्यादा से ज्यादा चलाएं, तो इसमें हम एनवायरनमेंट की तरफ, सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी की तरफ, ईवो इलेक्ट्रिक है जैसे, जो कि उसने इलेक्ट्रिकल व्हीकल्स निकाले 100% कमर्शियल व्हीकल्स निकाले हैं, और एक ई कॉमर्स का प्लेटफॉर्म है मशीन कंपेयर दैट लेट्स इंडस्ट्रियल मैन्युफैक्चरर्स ट्रेड न्यू एंड रिसाइकिल्ड पार्ट्स। इस तरह के प्लेटफॉर्म इंक्रीज होने चाहिए। तो शॉर्ट में तो मैं बस इतना ही कहना चाहूंगा।
सर, मैं आई कुड नॉट सी श्री त्यागी जी, त्यागी जी, बिकॉज डेल वाज देयर, सो आई कुड सी दैट। सो मैं माफी चाहूंगा सर, और आप प्लीज जो है अभी आज वी कैन हैव योर कमेंट्स एंड लेटर ऑन डिटेल्स में वी कैन हैव नेक्स्ट सेशन आल्सो। सो आपका ओवर टू त्यागी जी।
Sir, you want to say to me something?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
स्पेसिफाई कर दिया करो अनिल जी,
थ्री
कौन
त्यागी
से
जी,
त्यागी हैं? तीन त्यागी बैठे हैं।
त्यागी है मतलब, जो है ना, डेल का स्पेशली बोला, डेल का आई कुड नॉट रिकॉग्नाइज इट।
Okay, no problem, sir. So I am very much delighted to hear all the previous speakers, including our colleague, ex-colleague in CPCB, Sanjeev Kumar ji, for giving a very good presentation. So I also go by the views of the Shyam Gupta ji. There should be one nodal agency which can coordinate all types of waste at national level with reference to the policies and facilitation how to carry forward economic incentives also, or whatever required, as our Sanjeev ji has also kept that thing that only the procurement and logistics cost about 30%, which is a challenge to him. So I will say that there may be some more elaborate things, because there are some challenges even in user's mind of the recycled products. So if there is a policy on the product service system, what I am saying, I am clubbing two things: the product, recyclable products, as well as the service provided to the user, means which include maintenance and taking back guarantee. So it will enhance the user in the society to the recycled products. So this is one suggestion just, and this is very much in fancy how to carry forward this. This will certainly improve the circular economy in long term. Then we should have one policy on the green public procurement. So that will also help to the waste managers, because if you have the same taxation on the products which are coming directly from the virgin and which are coming from the recyclable material, you cannot have the same taxation, GST or something, whatever you want to say. So they should be at a reduced cost to facilitate their use by in the society. So these two my suggestions are there, just if they can be helpful to improve overall scenario in the country. So thank you very much for giving me an opportunity.
थैंक यू एसके त्यागी सर. एक्चुअली मैं आपका डेल की वजह से नहीं देख पाया आपका जो है, तो आई थिंक आपने वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट है. ये नॉर्मली हो रहा है कि बिकॉज अभी कोई भी देते हैं, इंक्लूडिंग आप CND वेस्ट पे या अदर वेस्ट पे जो भी है, बट GST का कोई इस तरह का क्राइटेरिया रखा नहीं है इन्होंने किस तरह से कि वो कैसे इसको प्रमोट करना है, इसका यूज एंड ऑल फर्दर. तो ये गवर्नमेंट को बहुत सीरियसली आई थिंक लेना पड़ेगा, अदरवाइज तो कौन जाएगा इन्वायरमेंटलिस्ट से. इन्वायरमेंट के नाम पे इतना तो कोई आगे बढ़ेगा नहीं, अनलेस को कोई बेनिफिट नहीं होगा. बिजनेस का मॉडल जब तक नहीं होगा तब तक वेरी वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू ये करना. तो thank you all the speakers today, और हमने we had very good discussion today. And I think for to conclude this or to more on the sector wise, we need to have more session on the as a continuation of this. So we can have next session on this in the continuation of this our circular economy thing. So with this, thanks to all the speakers and the all viewers. We'll close the session today, and definitely we'll catch up in the next session.
Anil sir, just a second.
Yeah.
To this all this honorable August members, my submission is that Government of India has launched a circular economy policy documentation through Ministry of Environment and Forest.
Yeah.
3 rounds of discussions has already happened. The 4th round of discussion happened on 29th of August at Vizag, wherein they had 6 nodal agencies has been identified. 6 nodal ministries have been identified to contribute towards. One is that what is the problem? Develop sectoral policy document. Third is on the how it can develop into skilling inputs, employment generation, and byproduct what Tyagi sir was right now, SK Tyagi sir was right now talking about. If as an HCFI, I will share the feedback form, which is there on the website of ministry, but for everybody's reference, I suggest, I think a lot of good points have come to on this discussion. I would request if we can give a formal representation through HCFI to ministry, and none other than this is being taken by Leena Nandan madam herself. So, and Mr. Gangwar, I think few of you must be knowing him. HCFI should also present from these viewpoints. These are excellent points which is being discussed right now, and nobody else has presented, because I have been into different forums. So people have different, they don't have, with all respect to everybody, maybe the time does not permit them to put it in the right order. So we can be one of the contributors.
Definitely, Sanjeev ji. I think after next one we can have just, after that we'll finalize it and we'll send to the,